HKO Live. Orange Lounge offers empowering ways to discover the love you want and deserve. We seek to help in relationship guidance, understanding, and commitment, whether you're newly in love or have been together for decades. We are on every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the Orange Dial, Radio Max 105.1 FM with your host, Henry Osei, the man with a mantle. Don't miss it.
You're listening to the Orange Lounge.
Know the difference between those who stay to feed the soil and those who come to grab the fruits.
Let's debate on the tricky debate.
All right. Freedom is hammered out of the anvil of discussion, dissent, and debate. A quote from Hubert H. Humphrey. On that note, I welcome you to the Tricky Debate. Over here on Tricky Debate, we basically take a topic that sexists talk about but don't really do it publicly. So we tend to do it like this. Tonight we are looking at who is more difficult to control or to advise. An African man with money and power or an African pastor. Okay, who is more difficult to advise? An African man with money and power or an African pastor? Debating tonight are Nana Barnes, the branch manager for Golden Pride Savings and Loans, and a business consultant, and also Nana Ahuntahun. Nana is a chief. He's a land surveyor and a businessman. Nana Barnes is speaking for an African man with money and power, and Nana Ahuntahun is speaking for an African pastor. You can also send us your comments via text message or WhatsApp to this very number, 024-488-3008. That's for WhatsApp and text alone. Hello, Nana Barnes.
Yes, hello.
Good. Can you hear us very well?
Loud and clear, my brother.
Wonderful. Okay. So we will start our debate right now. I think last week it was Nana who started for us. So you will go first. Okay, your first 4 minutes for your opening remarks starts now.
All right. Thank you very much, Henry. Once again, let me get to starting with our first listening. And it will be the our listening. Anyway, I'll begin by saying that that is popular thing in our local language. That goes like speaking in one son of. And this things will end our debate tonight. Because I know my brother dear himself has been saying it all the time. So speaking one son of. Anyway, and an African man who is rich most of the time has been feeling that he has seen it all. He has been through it all, so therefore he knows it all. And before success there's failure. There cannot be success without failure. So most of the time they feel that they've been through it all, they've experienced it all, so therefore they know it all. What I'm going to tell him, that will be able to convince him. What I'm going to tell him, that will be of an impact of an effect in his business or in his life. Anyway, when this African man who is rich, with richness comes with power, and with power also comes with respect. When they were building their legacy, where were you? All right? When they were going through, those failures, where were you? That today that they are very successful, you are coming to advise him. What are you going to say to him that will be of effect, or that will convince him, or that will persuade him? And don't forget, rich people work together with rich people. I'm a rich man myself, so I understand what I'm saying. Rich people, they work together with the rich people. They work together with the highest in the society. Those on top of the food chain, the politicians, the ministers, the top tier lawyers here and there. So before you even in a position to offer advice, which they will even give you the listening ear to, then you must be ready, well prepared. You must be more resourced. You must have the qualifications. You must be well licensed, well prepared, well equipped. Before I can even stand before him, to offer advice to an African man who is rich and very powerful. Sorry. There's this one belief that wealth makes life easier. But then we advise an African man who is rich present to these challenges and complexity. That can be the job of a financial advisor, a lawyer, a doctor, whoever it is. Very, 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 very challenging. I want to look at it from this four perspectives or angles. Let's look at the financial status of an African man who is rich. You know, I mean, a man who is rich normally have that investment portfolio, multiple streams of income, etc. So this requires a deeper understanding of complex financial instruments, tax law, as well as the ability to navigate the practices of constantly changing, market. We're able to offer advice to this man who is rich. He has both his legacy. He has seen it all. So in terms of finance, he knows how to manage his finances. So if you're going to present it to advice or give us or guide to an African man who is rich, then he must be up there in terms of financial. You're going to let the investment to be top notch. In terms of tax law, you should be ready to be able to offer advice. Otherwise, any advice that you offer, will not make any difference. Secondly, when it comes to their perspective on risk and return, every rich man is an investor. Every investor is a risk taker. All right, they take risk, and most of the time they are more willing to take higher level of risk in pursuit of greater return. In order to offer advice in such critical areas, you need to have expert knowledge in risk management and assessment. Additionally, you must also have, sort of practical experience or good track record to be able to advise you. Just imagine, an African who is rich and who is wealthy. There are certain methods that are used in the past, certain practices that, he applied.
30 seconds more.
Which got him the result that he was looking for. And today, he wants to reapply the same method. But here you are. The dynamics of the market might have been different from that time. The laws applicable at that time will be different from today. How do you offer advice? This person practically applied that particular thing is best for me. What I want to tell him today, that will convince me, that will change his mind. It's not very Herculean. My brother to understand that to advise African who is rich is very difficult than to advise an African pastor. Thank you, Henry. I will just wait for the system to get this.
All right, Nana, please, your 4 minutes starts now.
Good evening to our church.
Nana, please speak up into the microphone.
Good evening once again to our church listeners.
Good evening, Nana. Debate.
I do understand. Okay, fine. Let's come to the point. I'm with a view that pastors or prophets are hardly to advise than a billionaire or a rich person, as we put. First of all, who is a pastor? In the actual sense, anyone who knows the definition of a pastor or who think that who also somebody that Christians normally look up to in form of leading worships and that kind of thing, and also gives advice or counsel to most of his people or the community that they come from. You see, the reason why I'm with the view that pastors are very difficult to advise, or you cannot advise a pastor, because wherever the angle that you take from, they are always there. Let's first of all take a pastor who normally prophesies about riches, and that person tends to be a rich man. What happens? He being the pastor and he be rich. How can you advise such a person? Spirituality, he is there. Physical with money, he is there. So such a person cannot be advised. 2, let's also take a pastor who physical, she is good or he is good in everything that he's doing. And such a person, if you are going to talk about or advise him about his posture or something like that he normally does at the church or whatever, how can you advise such a person? Pastors are not people that are easily being convinced or can easily be advised when it comes to this modern Ghana, especially the African pastors, because they are people that you should rather call that you're too unful, not to seek any. You know, because a pastor is somebody who thinks that he knows all. When the pastor is falling, he prefers saying that Nyame beye, believes that everything is God's doing. How can you advise that person? When a pastor is somebody, a pastor who always thinks that the Lord is the key to everything, that's definitely the thing that he's doing is not good. It's not good to human being. It has so many implications. When you go to him and you're advising him, oh pastor, please, this, he will tell you that Nyame beye. So he believes everything in spirituality than the physical aspect of it. How can you advise such a person? Recently, is it Congo or something? I've forgotten the name of the country, whereby a pastor told all the church members that Jesus Christ is coming, so they should all bring their properties. Is it not a pastor? How can you go and advise such a person? No, pastors are difficult to advise, comparable to any other person on this earth, especially African pastors, especially Ghanaian pastors. They are worse. You can't advise them because they think they know everything. They are the people that you can't advise. They are not the Euskanian too. They are the people that you should say, Asofuni won't too unful. Because when it comes to spiritual aspect, they are there. They think they know more than you know. Maybe certain things are physical things that you hear people will be going for, instead of if they are sick, they have been going for prayer meetings and that kind of thing. It's because the pastors are advising them to do so. It's because the pastors think that God healing is the best. So they will come. There are certain things it's not spiritual. Certain things are physical, which you need medication. But they will not advise members to, because they think that they know. How can you go and tell pastor, advise your members to go to church, to go to the hospital when they let them come to the place of God? God will do it for us.
30 seconds more.
I mean, with all these things, with the view that pastors are very difficult to advise.
Okay. Nana Barnes.
Hello, Henry.
Yes, it's time to advance your arguments with another 4 minutes.
To continue, normally rich people have unique personal and emotional factors that can impact their financial decisions. And this could include the family background, they sometimes come from the inheritance concern. Most of the relatives, they inherited them. Sometimes their life and their teaching are also there. To understanding and advising, this requires a high level of empathy, communication skills, and emotional intelligence to be able to offer counsel or guidance to them. Henry, I want us to look at the reason why I feel and I believe that advising, an African man who is spiritual and very powerful is difficult than advising an African pastor. One, I made mention of the know-it-all attitude. They believe that they've been through it all, they know it all. So it makes it difficult to advise them. Somebody who knows it all. Don't forget, rich people, they research a lot. Rich people, they read wider. So they know practically, and from the books they know, they've read. What I'm going to tell you, it is very difficult to advise them. The second point is that, their rich status sometimes also tells, people who are coming to offer advice to them. It tells them. They look at their status, assuming, you are being offered the proceed to go and let advice is down go see. What am I going to say that this man will take? So their rich status is tells people who advises from advising them. You can also talk about their independence and self-reliance. They, normally they attribute their success to their own decisions and abilities. And this can lead to a strong sense of self, reliance, making them less receptive to outside advice. Man, my mother, make my brother, me, could do higher. Next, what are you going to say to me? I did everything all by myself. There's nothing you say that I would take. You know, because we talk about their money and the power. That gives them access to top time lawyers, as I said earlier. Government officials, ministers, and so on and so forth. It made them less receptive to increase some audit because of the people that they work with. People can advise me on finance. You should have that track record. You should also be as rich as people can advise me. How can the poor advise the rich on finance? Oh yeah, on to see. We can see here and that. Or to go far. I am a fat. It's what I mean say. So before you offer an advice that I would take, it should be out there before I can listen to him. And because we talk about, their power dynamic. Their words, as I said, it brings power. When you have money, you have power. You also have respect as well. So how do I come out with his words? They'll be used to having the opinions and decisions respected in that question. Find out. Until when it speaks, so that your opinions do not matter. So they, can sometimes create an environment where they expect, difference rather than challenge. When we say something, it's final. You can't say anything again. Sorry, I have more of this. I believe this within to even tell my brother Nadl that advising
10 seconds.
An African man that is great is excellent. It shouldn't even fight at all. So, thank you, Henry.
All right, Nana. Okay, listeners. So if you have any opinion on these debates, you can also join us with your comments via WhatsApp or text message 20244 883008, and then in about 10 or 15 minutes we'll open the phone lines for you to share your opinion on this debate as well. We are debating that between an African man who is rich and powerful and a pastor who is also powerful, which one of these people is more difficult to advise? Okay, Nana, your advancement starts now.
Yeah, I still with the view that pastors are very difficult to advise as compared to rich men or billionaires, however you put them in a bracket. If you look even to the Bible, it was when Paul advised Timothy on certain things. Even that one, now there was a problem. There are certain things that those that they think that they know, especially a pastor, he was saying that, especially a pastor who is rich, attached to whatever he is doing, a pastor who is learned. We have pastors that are learned in Africa. We have pastors that swim in money, that can stand, or you see them preaching of wealth. They don't preach anything about but wealth. These are the pastors that, what are you going to advise them? How are you going to advise them? How do you tell them that, pastor, don't preach about wealth, but preach about something else? Somebody will tell you that, yes, can you pen was sir. And then a pastor who wants to do something that you realize that what the pastor wants to do is not good. But in the other way around, you realize that the pastor, it's very difficult for you to advise the pastor because the pastor is not willing to even take what you are saying. Simple put, because he thinks that he knows more than you know, spiritualism and money. He's having the money. He's also into world. There are pastors that are world link. They know more people more than you know. So such a pastor, how do you advise the pastor? I mean, there are names that we can mention, but for the sake of this program, we just keep mute on certain names about pastors that they are rich and you cannot advise them. No matter what you do, they are not going to listen to your advice. Because when he talks about money, they have money. when it comes to the word of God, they know the Bible more than you know. They know what happens to Job, and they know what happens to Solomon. From Revelation to wherever, starting from Genesis to Revelation. If you start from Revelation to Genesis, they know everything. So such people, how do you advise them? That's it. It's difficult to advise pastors. Pastors are not like the billionaires, whereby you can just take some of their, maybe they have advices. Because most of billionaires, most people that are running businesses have advices. But a pastor is somebody who thinks that he knows both spiritual and physical. Especially when the pastor is somebody who is into so many businesses. When you tell the pastor that, oh, please sleep at 6 o'clock because of your health, God will do. Oh, don't worry. The Lord is in control. Hallelujah. Amen. And how do you advise that such a person? Somebody, they will tell them that go to, pastors should educate their members that when you are sick, there are some that is for spiritual aspect, and there are some that is for physical aspect, that you need to go to the hospital. But because they think they know, an African, you know, the whites will not do that, but African prophets, especially Ghanaian pastors, because they want it, they will tell you, whenever your head is paining you, it is the devil that is working. Come and let's pray for you. They will start praying. Then they will give us the tongues that they said, according to the Bible, who said that when you are speaking tongues and no one is there to translate it, they better keep mute because nobody understands it. But these pastors will dwell on it because you can't advise them. They know it, but you can't advise them to stop it. And my brother is aware of it. My brother can speak tongues more than anything. When he is speaking, ask him, how many people understand the tongues that he is saying? No one. But because he is in spirit, because they think they know, if you advise them that please, you can't, they say no. They still stand by what they say. So please, with all due respect, pastors are more difficult to advise than the billionaires. Thank you.
All right, Nana Barnes.
Hello, Henry.
Yes, we are going to our rebuttals now.
All right, thank you so much. You know, he first made mention, you know, anytime we make reference to the Bible, I expect that it gives us, you know, scripted that we can make reference to. You can't just get up and tell me, you know, when Paul was advising Timothy. When did Paul advise Timothy? You should give us the quotation.
Nana doesn't quote the Bible. He knows the stories.
Otherwise, he can make things up. And we know when to make things up, I'll catch him. You get it? When did Paul advise Timothy? Where is it in the scripture? If you go to for us to see. Henry, you should also understand something. That this person that he's talking so much about, they are being financed or funded by the rich. These are rich who have put them where they are. It is the rich who also advise them. Someone who is financed, who is funding, who is buying cars for you, who is buying those expensive suits and shoes for you, selling your car, building those cases for you. The same person who is going to advise you, you cannot even advise you. You know, they rather we the rich father end up advising the pastors. There's another point that is made that you know, I want to make this point. Henry, you know that in heaven, even God has, you know, council of elders. Who sits with him in heaven? In heaven. I've been before. There are council of elders in heaven. What is their role? Their role is to offer counsel, is to offer advice, even to call him down. When you come to earthly, you come to the church system. And when you come to the church system, we have, you know, the church board, which is made up of the rich people in the church. And what is their duty? Their duty is to offer financial advice, strategic advice to the pastor. The pastor normally handles more the spiritual issues, but they offer advice and direction to the pastor and the church. That is the role of the church board. And this board is controlled by the rich in the church. Let's even come down to the church and council of elders. Every church has this particular, you know, unit in the church. The council, why are they there? They are there, or their different responsibilities are to offer advice, guidance, and direction, and counsel to the pastor, because the pastor needs it. He might be more, interested in the spiritual, but when it comes to the spiritual, the physical issues or other issues, realize that these elders are there to offer guidance and advice to the pastor. So you cannot tell me that the pastors. Hello, Henry, are you listening? I think yes, you guys are having another conversation.
Oh no, we are listening to you.
So don't mind that here. He's trying to distract you. Don't mind him. He did that deliberately because he knows his truth. He doesn't want you to listen to me. I beg you, listen to me. So in the church system, we have the council of elders who are there to offer guidance and advice to the pastor. So how do you come and tell me the pastor they don't take advice? They take advice. Even in the church system, there's an advisory board that is there to advise, the pastor. And as I told you, it is the pastors who have the rich and who have made these pastors who they are today. It is their money that help them for them to expand their churches, for them to go to, driving in the flashy cars that they driving today. It is the rich that are rich in their congregation. But it is the same rich who advise and counsel these pastors. But fathers should understand that there's no way the pastor can even advise the rich, but the rich men in the church are all the time advising and directing the pastor. Thank you, I rest my case.
Okay, Nana, please, your rebuttals. 4 minutes.
I don't get what my brother is trying to put across.
He's trying to say that you should fire more.
No, because he was saying that because the person is rich, you cannot advise the person. Point of correction. Not the angle that he's coming from is not the angle of the rich man. A rich man is somebody who listens to advice more than their pastor. Because before the person became rich, he passes through hands of people. Most of the rich men that you see have their own board, the CEOs, and that kind of thing. They have their own board that members are there to advise them. So when you come outside, you were saying that he is a rich man. God beats. I ask for God blessing to that one. I don't know how to even put my statement on that angle.
No, he's rich, actually.
But I'm not saying that he's not rich.
I'm rich. I'm very rich.
Yes, he's rich because yes, he's rich. But what I'm saying is that because any rich man passes through certain things, so they have most of them. They are experienced with that.
I am rich. I don't pass
and
certain
when they are there, and you come and they are facing problem, that is why they have consults. They consult people. They do right people and pay them to do whatever you think that you know. So do you want to tell me that those people that they paid for them to bring them the information that they want, they have their research team, they have their people to do whatever they want to do. They are being paid. So is it not a form of advice? It's a form of advice. How can you do that to a pastor? You can't. Pastors doesn't even have a research team to see what is wrong with members. So he should not come in close to whatever I'm discussing or I'm saying. He should rather think of how best he can also find ways and means to convince a pastor to change some wrong deeds of them. He also made mention of that money and power. There are some pastors that are more powerful than even a rich man. Pastors are more powerful than even a rich man. Rich men, yes, they have money. Money comes with power. But that is not something that prevents them to listen to advice. Because they have the power, they can go to anyone that, Master, we want this. Or the person may get it for them. But that doesn't mean that because they have money, that is why the power is being given to them. The power is being done by process. He being a rich man, and now he's having power. When he wake up in the morning, was the money there for him to take? No. He passes through certain things. He went for consultations. He paid people to do some services for him. Before now, he tend to be or to proclaim that he's rich. I know he's rich. So I've just tell my boys that he's a rich man. So the head is good. Also, we can use the head for something. You get it? So it's like being rich means that you went through certain things. There are certain things that he doesn't even know or understand. Because when he's talking about rich men issue, rich man is somebody who listens to advice, who makes sure that the right thing is being done than the African pastor. What does the African pastor knows about rich? Some of the African pastors are rich, but they cannot compare themselves to a rich man. You see, anything. You don't even know.
And then sound a Ben me too.
O premium.
Okay. Yeah.
You get it? There are certain things that the rich people may be doing that he thinks that because of that, that's why they don't listen to advice. Nipana kwasha asase Abraham and I didn't be bugu so no wenye sika no se me ba me begimenia what's if that menji weni because sika no brain na unyai. What is in your stomach is what you send away. What belongs to your waist that you've given it out is what you go with. At the end of the day, you don't have anything again. So if the person has come out and wants to jubilate, don't say that because skinny and tuneful. I say it's because of what she wants to do. So my brother should stop that argument that rich people cannot be advised. Rich people are the best people to advise than the pastor, especially an African pastor and a Ghanaian pastor to be precise. Thank you.
Okay. Having listened to both arguments, I think it is time to hear your concluding remarks, and then I will put my judgment across. So, Nana Barnes, you first, 2 minutes, please.
All right, thank you, Henry. As I in my first let me mention that even that popular thing that is saying that even ends and wins my argument tonight. Because of one, the status and mention of other things. And my brother was saying that what I made mention was that it is difficult to advise, not that it's impossible to advise. And lastly, he made mention that was saying over there advisors. Most of the time they are mentors. We call them mentors. Alright? People that sometimes look up to. But because normally we sit on top of the food too, why is he going to look up to? It is not and us who that look up to us. You get me? So it is not me rather looking down to somebody, down to somebody who is far below me. It is not on the same level with me. There are certain advice that they can look to me. That will say, or that will even make sense to me. But if you're not on the same level with me, and you bring a certain advice, before you see the advice, I'll first check your background. Or look at where we're coming from. If you don't have the expertise, the technical know-how, if you don't have, the practical skill, it's not explained before, the person said to me, that will make sense to me. So before you can advise me a rich person, I said, your communication skills is top notch. You should have all the knowledge in the area that you're coming from. Otherwise, it's very difficult to advise, guide, counsel, or control a rich man. Thank you very much. I'll end my debate here.
Thank you very much. Nana, your 2 minutes for conclusion.
My brother, just exercise patience when you are talking, because I can see that you are in a hurry. You think that the debate is just in front of you, or you just won the debate. Also, at times the Kasabebubi, I say, Upro Echusia, Buja never. That's what my brother is trying to put across. Let me tell him, a rich man is somebody that listens to advice compared to an African pastor or prophet. Yes, if a prophet comes in and say that, oh, today there will be rain, or it will rain today, whatever statement they put across, and in a situation whereby maybe someone comes in and say, no, pastor, because of the weather situation, the rain may, use the word may, because the weather is something. No, yachreme. How can you say that? It's impossible. So these people are very difficult to advise as compared to a rich man. A rich man always opens the door for advice, because they know that yes, there's business opportunity elsewhere. Somebody will not travel all the way from UK to Ghana just to do business. It's because of someone's advice. So Henry should, Nana should exercise patience, and then know that pastors are very, very difficult to advise.
Seems like he's targeting me.
As compared to a rich man. A rich man opens the door for advice. As simple put. Thank you.
Okay. Listeners, it's over to you. You can call us now, if you can, to 020-860-8620 right now, if you can. Otherwise, then we are gone. Okay, so like I said last week in our other debates, I don't give advice unless solicited. But in my case, I've dealt with both kinds of people that you are talking about. And I can tell you for a fact that advising either a rich man or a pastor is like being placed between a rock and a hard place. It's extremely difficult to do that. I'd like to say thank you to our debaters, Nana Ahuntahun and Nana Barnes. My name is Henry Osei. Tricky Debate returns next week.
It's the Tricky Debate. HKO Live.